What is the date? January 4th? 5th
Fifth.
meeting. January 5th, 2026 meeting of the Select Board to order. First item, I have to read the
Yes.
preamble. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023 and as amended as of March 28, 2025, this meeting will be conducted in person and as a courtesy by a remote means in accordance with applicable law. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public and board members, the meeting/hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless required by law. This meeting will be recorded by the local scene, formerly known as pac-tv. Members of the public who wish to watch the meeting may do so by viewing the Duxbury Government Access Channels, Verizon 39 or Comcast 9. Viewers can visit thelocalscene.media/Duxbury for information about Duxbury programming, including streaming and watching replays on Duxbury YouTube. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item is open forum. I will start with the board members. We have two board members this evening that are joining us virtually, Cindy Ladfiorini and Brian Glennon, who's typically our chair, but I am stepping in tonight as he is remote. So I'll start with board members. Cindy, do you have anything under open forum?
Just that I'm just trying to, yes, just to let you know that the Eversource here, we just did the municipal aggregation that went into effect December 1st, and for our electric bills in town, for those that decided to stay with it and didn't opt out. Just to let you know that the Eversource rates are going up again I think I can't get I'm sorry, I can't get my email, but I think it's the end of January, beginning of February by another half a cent, something like that, which is significant overall. But if I get to my email, which I can't, I could tell you more specifically. But as the bottom line being that we are continuing to save more money.
Right, so people who joined who didn't opt out are going to benefit from those cost savings.
They are indeed.
Anything
So,
else?
yeah. No, that's it.
Thank you. Brian, anything under open forum?
Thank you, and thank you, Amy, for chairing tonight. I appreciate you stepping in. Just want to mention, since this is the first meeting of 2026, I'd like to express my appreciation, and I think I'm speaking on behalf of the board, for all the municipal employees, DPW, police, fire, who worked on Christmas and New Year's. I know it's probably a lonely shift, but we certainly appreciate what they do for us every day, but especially on the holidays. Just wanted to give them a shout out. Thank you.
Thank you. Fernando.
Just want to thank the Plymouth County Commissioners. They have provided us with a booklet of the Plymouth County Booklet of County, City, and Town Officers for 2026. Look at that.
Like a little
nice cover,
directory.
too, as well. All right.
Mike, anything under open
Nothing.
forum?
Thank you.
Thank you, and I have nothing. So we have a big agenda tonight, so we will, is there anybody from the public or online that has anything in which they'd like to bring up under open forum? Hearing nothing, we'll jump right to our first item on the agenda, which is the police department swearing-in ceremony. We have 4 new officers this evening, and we have Chief Carbone here to lead the show. So take it away, Chief.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Happy New Year, by the way.
To you.
Happy New Year to you,
Happy
too.
New Year.
Thank you for allowing this time so we can swear in 3 new officers and a sergeant's promotion. So we'll start with the 3 new officers, and I'll do a little introduction to all 3 of them, and they can come up and they'll be sworn in by Sue Kelly, and then they'll be pinned by their chosen person who they've chose. That makes sense? Okay. So first is Abigail Plorde. And Abby has spent her entire life on the South Shore and settled in Plymouth at the age of 6. She is one of 4 siblings, including her twin. Abby attended Plymouth South High School, where she was an active member of the track and field and volleyball teams. After graduating high school, Abby took the initiative to join the first Massachusetts State Police Cadet Program, preparing herself for a career in law enforcement. During her year in that program, a full year in that program, she gained valuable experience and learned the ins and outs of the life as a law enforcement officer. Abby continued her journey by attending the 76th Recruit Officer course at the Plymouth Police Academy. She graduated in July 2024 successfully. She began her career with the Dennis Police Department, where she successfully completed the field training program and spent a year on patrol. Abby is now excited to continue her career with the Duxbury Police Department, and today she's going to be pinned by her mother, Jill. And Abby, you can actually, if you would like, you can come up and stand and wait for the... Next is Officer Thomas Delora. Tom grew up in Plymouth, Massachusetts, with his parents and younger brother before moving to Kingston in 2016. He's a graduate from the New England Institute of Technology with an associate's degree in automotive technology and recently earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. Tom spent 20 years as an automotive mechanic, concluding his mechanic career with the Massachusetts State Police. In 2015, he attended the Randolph Police Academy and begun his law enforcement career with the Plymouth Police Department. Over the next decade, he served as the department's training instructor and patrol supervisor before transferring to the Duxbury Police Department in September of 2025. In 2006, Tom married his wife, Elsie. They have 2 children, Lucy and Lincoln. Lucy is active in competitive dance, while Lincoln plays baseball and hockey. Tom enjoys coaching both baseball and hockey in his free time. Today, he's going to be pinned by his wife, Elsie. Tom. And number 3, our third new officer, is Michael Curley. Michael also grew up in Plymouth, Massachusetts, raised by his father, who was both a Vietnam veteran and a Boston police officer. Inspired by his father's example of service, Michael developed a strong desire to serve his country and his community. He pursued his education at Bridgewater State University, earning a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. After college, Michael joined the United States Navy, where he served honorably from 2012 to 2016. Following his military service, Michael returned home and began his law enforcement career with the Plymouth Police Department, serving the community for approximately 10 years. During that time, he felt a calling for a change and sought the opportunity to serve in another community. The Duxbury Police Department stood out to him because of The Duxbury Police Department stood out to him because of its strong leadership and close-knit community values. Motivated by these qualities, Michael made the decision to join the Duxbury Police Department, where he is committed to serving with honor, respect, and integrity. Today, Michael is going to be pinned by his girlfriend, Jeanette Morgan. Michael? Sue, if you'd like, we can swear in these new officers, and they can be pinned by their...
If you could raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I, please state your name, do solemnly swear that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the bylaws of the town of Duxbury,
and bylaws of the town of Duxbury,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
perform all of the duties
perform all of the duties
imposed upon me
imposed upon me
as a police officer
as a police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
And Abby's mom and Tom's wife and Mike's girlfriend, they come up and please pin them. I just want to add that we are very excited to take on these 3 talented new officers. They all have experience, and they've all gone, well, actually, I think Abby's still in their field training program, but for the most part, they've all gone through the field training, and they're doing excellent, of course, because they have already served in other departments, and we welcome you aboard, and I can't be happy. I can't even, I've expressed that to you numerous times. Okay. Welcome. Thank you for your service.
Congratulations and welcome. Congratulations. Oh, sorry, Randy.
Congratulations. Thanks so much.
Now we'd like to recognize a recent promotion that we made due to Sergeant Maury's retirement. So our next little introduction here is going to be Sergeant Katie McElroy. Katie, a little background on Katie. Katie's been with the department for quite some time now. She was raised in Duxbury and graduated from Notre Dame Academy in 2005. She went on to earn her bachelor's degree from Western State College in 2009. She comes from a proud law enforcement family. Katie's father is a retired lieutenant from the Massachusetts State Police. She also has a brother who, believe it or not, I know Danny quite well. Her brother Danny, who started off as a Duxbury police officer, and I happened to be his supervisor on midnights for many years. So I got to know Danny quite well. It was an interesting person. However, Danny left the Duxbury Police Department. He's now a Mass State Trooper. Katie and her husband, Seamus, live in Duxbury with their 4 children, Finbar, Seamus, Grace, and Donnell. Katie began her career in Duxbury Police Department in 2012. Over the years, she has served in many roles, including an active member of the crime scene unit. She's currently a certified sexual assault investigator and a member of the Plymouth County Domestic Violence Task Force. She has also worked as a school resource officer, a field training officer, and she also worked briefly in the detectives division. And one other thing I'd like to note is, probably like 4 years ago, when the police department ran the beach, Katie she was the supervisor of all the beach rangers, and she did an outstanding job. And that was like 4 or 5 years ago, I believe. She did an outstanding job. That was a task, that was a quite difficult task that she had to take on. In 2022, Katie ran the Boston Marathon to support Cops for Kids with Cancer, a cause which is close to her heart because she is a childhood cancer survivor herself. She was awarded the Life Saving Award in 2020. So today, we want to honor Katie to be promoted to the rank of sergeant, and her badge will be pinned by her son, Finbar. So
Nice.
Katie, if you come up, you can be sworn in, and Finbar can...
If you could raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I,
I,
please state your name,
Kathleen McElroy,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold and defend
that I will uphold and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the bylaws of the Town of Duxbury,
and the bylaws of the Town of Duxbury,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
perform all of the duties
perform all of the duties
imposed upon me
imposed upon me
as a sergeant
as a sergeant
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that concludes our ceremony, and I will, again, thank you very much for your time. Again, stuff like this is so exciting to me. It's great.
We enjoy this too, so, and
this is-
thank you all for your service.
Thank you for your
Yes,
service.
thank
Yeah,
you.
and Chief, this is the most enjoyable part of the job.
It really is, it really is.
To
Really
me, it
is.
is. I love seeing these
Yeah.
fresh new faces.
Yeah.
and fresh promotions. It means a lot to me.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
It really
Good
is.
stuff,
So,
absolutely.
thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
Congratulations to all.
Next item on our agenda this evening is a public hearing regarding aquaculture float renewals. I believe we have to open the public hearing.
Yep. I move that the Select Board opens the aquaculture float license public hearing advertised in the Duxbury Clipper on December 24th, 2025 regarding aquaculture float license renewal applications from the aquaculture grant holders named in the notice.
Thank you.
Second.
This requires a roll call vote. I'll start with Cindy.
Cindy,
Brian?
Brian, aye.
Michael, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye. So we've opened the public hearing, and tonight we have Mr. Richard Brennan, who's the chair of the Shellfish Advisory Committee. He's provided us with a memo, and we also look to him to kind of walk us through what we're doing this evening. Mr. Brennan.
Hi, all. We had a shellfish meeting, we had a shellfish committee meeting to review the yearly application for aquacultural floats. The process first goes through the harbor master. He does the physical review, the activities involved in harvesting the shellfish. The shellfish committee does the vetting of the applications. The yearly process follows the same procedures as the regular moorings. It happens once a year. It happens once a year for us also. All of the there was 24 floats. It was one of the questions we get a lot, and I won't bore you with it, just a few. People don't know how many floats there are out there because they seem to be all over the place, but actually they're in a designated area that's completely different from the mooring field. 10 or 15 years ago, they did a complete redoing of the mooring field. And since that's happened, there have been more moorings open for recreational. These people are pushed off to a side, and they're in a designated area, so they usually don't bother anybody out there. There are 30 grant holders. They're all entitled to can have a float. Right now, there are 24 floats. So the other ones usually double up on other floats, or they do it offshore. One of the reasons that people want to know what happens with those floats. What happens out there? What are they doing? Well, actually, what they're doing is they're processing their product. Since 2012, they initiated the state initiated a way to keep the oysters from being infected by Vibrio. Vibrio is a bacteria that's in the water at all times, and it gets to be prevalent when the temperatures go up. You remember the old adage, don't eat shellfish if the month doesn't have an R in it. And that's what it meant. But in summer months, because of the warm weather, the heat. So they're destined to keep these from May to October in an ice bath. So they're using those floats to bring them out of the water, put them in the floats, sort them for size. Some will go back in the water, some will go into bags and get to the wholesaler. From there, they come out to the shore and the wholesaler picks them up. It's all temperature controlled so much. And one of the other question was, how much do they pay? How much do these floats pay? It's the same as the other one, it's $12 a foot. So if it's 40 feet, figure 40 times 12, I can't do the math. Somebody asked me, what's the date that they have to be out of there? Well, there is no current they have to be out of there. Usually they move the floats, either they move them offshore or into one of the estuaries by the one of the bays or the rivers, because of they don't want them damaged during the winter. And there's not much going on in the winter, and they don't have to do a lot of stuff, so that they don't need the float. There are 4 half a dozen guys here and women that own any of these floats. If you want to ask any of those questions, they'd be more than glad to answer. I don't go out to the floats. It's too much work. So what we do is we're asking you to, we did all our work, and we checked all of the material, and they all passed muster. So we recommend to continue on their grants.
Okay, so before if anybody has any questions, This is a great time to do it. But what we're doing this evening is that we're renewing their float licenses, if you will,
Correct.
for 1 year,
1 year.
correct? For 1 year. And we do this every year, so there's no ability.
Every year.
Yep, okay. And some have docks and some are updwellers.
Well, no, the upwellers are completely different.
Okay.
Some of the upwellers are where they take the small seed and they bring it into a confined area, and they have water flowing through at all times. So some of them are renting dock space at the Maritime School, and these upwellers are underneath the docks. Other times, they have their upwellers on the floats, and they have to be pumped water through it constantly. It prevents, if they put them down in the water that small, they would get lost between the green crabs, and the seaweed attaches to it like a parachute, and it takes it off. So, and they're paying, they put a couple million seeds down a year. So, and the price is extraordinary. So they use that, the upwellers for that. The floats themselves. I've lost the.
That's okay.
I went off on a trip here.
I was confused on the difference between the float people and what's called upwellers, but I'm learning as we go along. So are there any questions for Dick or Fernando?
Yes, I do have. Mr. Brennan, a couple of years ago, one of the growers was using the float for other purposes not intended. And I believe that's been corrected. So what's the current situation? Is everybody basically just using the floats for their intended? They're not having parties or selling space or doing other activities. Is that correct?
It's true that somebody was doing some activities that were not approved. There's a pretty strict set of rules what they can use what they can with those floats. There's no
Right.
parties, there's no swimming, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He had gone beyond that, thinking that was a way to generate some more funds.
Yep.
Once we found out about it, we consulted with him, brought it to you, and that has all ceased. And we don't see any of that anymore.
That's
Glad to
good. That's
hear
good to
that.
hear. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Nope.
No.
Mike, any
I don't have a
questions?
question, but I just want to
Brian?
thank Dick for that detailed information. That's very helpful, I think, for everybody, us especially.
Any other questions, Brian?
That was it. Just wanted to thank Dick for his hard work on this.
And Cindy, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Okay,
Okay.
I think I can take a motion.
Yeah, I move that the Select Board approves the float license renewal application submitted by the following applicants: Arthur Bennett, William Bennett, Mark Booth Hylier, Christopher Burns, Brad Doyle, Scott Doyle, Michael George, Stephen Gilbert, Joseph Grady, Robert Netsch, Benjamin Lloyd, Victoria Lloyd, Adrian McGrath, Donald Merry, Gregory Morris, Christopher Phillips, Joseph Pierce, Ursula Pierce, Andy Popolo, Christopher Sherman, Louis Strong, Kevin Thompson, and Brian Zecht. And as required by Mass General Law 130, Section 57-68, grant permission to conduct activities as outlined by the Town of Duxbury Shellfish Aquaculture Grant Regulations, Section 11, pending all federal, state, and local reviews and approvals.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll take a roll call vote. Cindy, I'll start with you.
Cindy, aye.
Brian, aye.
Michael, aye.
Fernando, aye.
And Amy, aye.
Right, I move that the Select Board close the aquaculture float license public hearing.
Congrats.
Could I get a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Roll call vote.
Cindy, aye.
Brian, aye.
Michael, aye.
Fernando.
Fernando, aye.
And Amy, aye.
All
Thank you,
right.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is a hearing for the transfer of license for Osborne's Country Store. Let me try to find that in my,
I think we probably, I have it here.
Here, do you want me to go ahead and, it's a public hearing, do you want me to go ahead and open the
please,
public
please
hearing?
Yeah, that's
do,
what I was
sir.
wondering.
Yep, I
Yeah, I
found it.
move that Select Board opens the public hearing regarding the transfer of license from Osborne's Country Store, Inc., DBA Osborne Country Stores, to Osborne's Country Store, Inc., DBA Osborne Country Store. Sounds like the same thing, but there's something significant about that, but
Apparently.
anyway.
Could I get a second?
Second.
A roll call vote. Cindy?
Cindy, aye.
Brian, aye.
Michael, aye.
Amy, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Okay, so the public hearing is open, and we are going to hear from the applicant, who's represented here by his attorney, Matthew Porter. Is he online, or is
Yeah,
he?
there he is.
Okay.
Hi.
Mr. Porter, can you hear us?
Good
okay?
evening.
Good
Yes.
evening.
Thank you, Board. My name is Matthew Porter. I'm the attorney for Osborne's Country Store, Inc. Appearing before you actually in person is Krishnakant Patel, and also appearing with us via Zoom is Rakesh Patel. They're two of the principals of the corporation that's applying for the transfer of license before you today. This all relates to the sale of Osborne's at 505 Commercial Street. As I said, the applicant, Osborne's Country Store, Inc., is made up of Rakesh Patel as well as Krishnakant Patel. Both individuals have a vast experience in the gas, convenience, and liquor store industry. I believe Krish has been in the industry for over 25 years now, Rakesh over 20 years. In addition to that, Krish's wife, Hansabin Patel, is the proposed license manager, meaning she's going to be the individual at the store, a bare minimum of 40 hours, I'm sure, if not a lot more per week. She also has been in the industry for over 25 years with her husband. She's been working at the same store in Braintree for, I believe, the last 20 years now. So a very experienced ownership group taking over a very well-established store in town. There are no major anticipated changes to the business, so there'll be no changes to the way the business operates, no changes to the layout of the store. All the hours are remaining the same. So it's essentially, as I said, a long-standing store being taken over by individuals with a wealth of experience in this industry. They are all alcohol tip certified. All employees would be required to be alcohol tip certified as well. In addition to the request for the transfer of license, they are financing the transaction through Rockland Trust, and so we'd be asking for the board to approve a pledge of license and inventory to Rockland Trust as well. But otherwise, all of their financing is in order, everything in place. It's been a very smooth transaction thus far with the seller, who I'm sure will be, continue to be extremely helpful as the store transfers over. But with that, I can certainly answer any questions that the board may have, as well as my clients.
Thank you, Attorney Porter. I guess questions from the board, and I'm hoping to ask.
Ask him. He'll tell you the answer to the question you have. I already know what it is. Go ahead.
I was
know
looking at you.
No, he'll
It
give
was
you.
the inventory question. We're
Yes.
pledging something, so I'm not quite sure I understand that, but I'm looking to our town
Sure.
manager and his incredibly knowledgeable cohort, Nancy
Yes.
O'Connor, to tell me that we've done that before? I don't recall that.
Yes, I believe we have. Do you want to hear?
Do you remember, John?
Yes, we have done that before, and just to let you know, too, I've already sent everything up to the ABCC, the executive director, for his review, because I, too, had some questions, and everything is fine, and it's just it's a normal, we've done it before with another transfer of license. I think it was Bennett's that we did this with before.
So when we're certifying the inventory, how are we to know what that inventory is? Were you provided with a list of what the inventory is in the store, or?
Yeah, and all the financials and everything, I provided with all that. it's very confidential, so it wasn't included in your packet. And then the ABCC, they do a thorough review. They have detectives, and they do a much more thorough deep dive on everything to make sure that it's, yeah, so it's all set.
I knew why you were asking, because all of a sudden you think, oh my God, what are we doing? We're going to own a liquor store.
Well, on
its face,
behalf
that's
of the
what it-
town,
Yeah,
we're.
on its face, that's what it looks like. You're right.
I don't recall a bank ever asking us to verify or attest to inventory, and,
Yeah, a pledge of inventory and pledge of collateral,
yeah, that,
Yeah. So this is
And
not,
the collateral, not to interrupt, but the collateral is essentially a pledge of the license itself. So what it is ultimately is it's a security instrument for the bank. So it's similar to, a bank taking a mortgage on a property that they're financing. They secure the loan of the business against the license and inventory, so that if, God forbid, and we do not anticipate it here, but if the bank were to ever have to foreclose on the business if the buyer defaulted on their loan, this is what gives the bank the ability to foreclose on the license and some of the assets of the business. Now, all of that being said, Rockland Trust is not in the business of operating package stores. So how it would work ultimately, and again, we do not anticipate this, but the bank would then act on their pledge of license. The bank would sell that store almost at an auction to a subsequent buyer. But the town does not lose any control over the license whatsoever. That subsequent applicant would have to come back before the board and be qualified as well. So it's essentially a security instrument, and collateral for the bank on the loan itself is what the pledge is.
okay. I have no questions.
Mike, any
I have a
questions? Just one
I have a
second,
couple.
Brian. Just,
Okay,
Mike, any questions?
No, I'm fine. I'll let Brian go first.
Brian, go ahead.
thanks. Yeah, a couple of questions as I was going through the materials. One is, it looks like the applicants have some experience in running alcohol establishments, but I saw that it appears that most of their experience is in Western Massachusetts. Do they have anything that's more local to Duxbury in terms of running a store? And I think Matthew answered my one other question I had, which is who's the manager? I think he said Mrs. Patel. I believe they're in Braintree. If you can please confirm that. And a related question is, if the manager is commuting back and forth to Braintree, how do you anticipate staffing the store with experienced folks in the meantime? Do you have experienced folks currently on the payroll who will be remaining, so that in the event there's any issue with the store, we're not waiting for somebody to come down from the Braintree area to address any issues when the manager is not present on site?
Sure. So yeah, as for the Western Massachusetts store, so Rakesh Patel is one of the principals of the corporation, but he's not going to be overseeing the day-to-day operation of it. Rakesh is out in Wilbraham, and so hence we have to disclose all licenses that are owned. So that's why you see the vast majority of the Western Mass is because Rakesh has stores out in that area. Mr. Patel and Ms. Patel, who are operating the store, are both Braintree residents, so obviously far more local to here. That store is run by Ms. Patel and Mr. Patel, but it's been ran for the last 20 years. So they already have managers in there. Her role is going to be the full-time manager and full-time employee now at the Duxbury store. So she will not be splitting her time between the two locations. She'll be here full-time. They do have other employees as well. They're working with the seller to see who they're going to be able to retain. But in that regard, it'll be a fully staffed store. she'll be there 40, 50, plus hours per week. But any other employees that are working there will all be required to be alcohol tip certified as well. So they'll always have very vetted, employees, because they're obviously, very, aware of the rules and responsibilities that come along with the
Okay,
alcohol.
thank you. And I think I heard from Nancy that in the confidential materials, there's nothing showing change of layout or any significant change to the current operation. Is that right?
No, we would be required to do an alteration of premises along with this. The ABCC required that's not a part of the application here. So before the board is just the transfer of the existing license with no changes or alterations of the premises whatsoever.
Okay, are any other changes anticipated to the business generally, convenience store or gas station?
No, it's going to stay the same. Yeah, it's been a very successful operation. They don't have any intention of changing that.
Thank you. Amy, I'm all set with the question.
Thank you, Brian.
Maybe I just, for my education then. So we go ahead and as a licensing authority, we can approve the transfer of license, but then the Alcohol Beverage Control Commission then also vets the whole process, right? So we have two sets of eyes in terms of this transfer and the formalization of it, right? Much deeper dive, right? So yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it's one single application. So the state process is everybody files the ABCC application. It goes to the local level first.
Right.
So the same exact application you're reviewing today, if it's so granted, is forwarded up to the ABCC. They'll put an investigator in charge of reviewing the application. Right. They'll do their deep dive. We'll work with the investigator to make sure the application is complete. And then once that application is signed off by the ABCC and approved at their level, only at such time then would the town issue the liquor license itself to the new buyers.
Because, at the end of the day, we're just volunteers, right? And so there's backup in a sense of understanding the business and the regulations and the controls, and that's the role of the commission to...
Oh, they're very thorough.
Yeah, okay. That's good. Thank you.
Cindy, any questions?
No, I'm very comfortable with this. No
Okay.
problems.
Thank you. Any questions from the public? Anybody online? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
I move that the Select Board, acting as the local licensing authority, approves the transfer of license, including pledge of inventory and pledge of collateral, from Osborne's Country Store, Inc., DBA Osborne Country Store, manager Barbara Sanders, to Osborne's Country Store, Inc., DBA Osborne Country Store, new manager Hanzavan Patel, for the retail packaged goods store number 15, all kinds of alcoholic beverages, license number 00012-PK-0300 for the property located at 632 Summer Street, Duxbury, and subject to the requirements of the town of Duxbury and the Alcohol Beverage Control Commission.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, roll call. Cindy?
Aye.
Brian, aye.
Michael, aye.
Amy, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Excellent.
Good luck.
Appreciate
Thank you.
your time. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Close the public
Yep.
hearing.
I move that Select Board closes the public hearing.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Cindy?
We'll figure it out.
Aye.
Brian, aye.
Michael, aye.
Yeah.
I don't like this spot. I like the hot corner.
Okay, Mike.
Getting ground
Fernando,
balls
aye.
all night.
Okay, next item on the agenda is
Is it
the town manager's report or?
No,
which-
discussion
no,
and
it's
vote.
the- Okay.
Is a discussion and vote regarding the transmittal of the following articles, read proposed amendments to the town of Duxbury Protective Bylaw,
Oh,
zoning
thank you.
bylaw from the Select Board to Planning Board for their review.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have, do we have Kristen Rapp presenting this
No, you have
evening, or do we
Matt Hines, our
Oh, we have
planning
Matt
director.
Hines.
And before he begins, can I just preface it
Sure,
with the,
please
with the
do.
note that was on the agenda?
Yes, please.
This is going to sound like a broken record to you, Amy, and of course Brian and Cindy, because you're all former planning board members, so you know this procedure well. The purpose of this agenda item is a procedural matter required by state law. More specifically, the Select Board will be considering whether or not to officially refer the proposed articles for proposed amendments to the zoning bylaw to the planning board so that the planning board can then hold the required public hearings. The select board will be discussing and voting their recommendations on the articles at a future meeting prior to the annual town meeting. And with that, Matt Hines, our planning director, is here to guide you through the process.
Yeah, thanks. So for the record, I'm Matthew Hines, Planning Director for Town of Duxbury, as you know. I'm happy to answer any questions. I think probably most of what you need is in your files. As you can see, it's three zoning bylaw amendments that we're moving forward with. The one is the kind of the biggest, most complicated one, I guess, is the recodification. Then the flood hazard overlay district one is kind of pretty simple. And then the battery energy storage systems, of course, is sort of the one that's probably kind of acquired the most interest from members of the public, obviously with all of the kind of publicity about the project that was proposed recently and the backlash against it and the litigation and so forth. I think there are kind of brief explanations at the beginning of each one that I wrote in. I'm happy to sort of answer any questions or to try to describe them in more detail if you like. We've also have one planning board member who's here remotely as well.
Okay, I do, because this is a televised select board meeting, and because this is often the first time the public is hearing about these upcoming important warrant articles, it's a good opportunity to so I think if you could give a little bit, and you just did, I think the recodification and the reorganization is maybe the biggest, most complicated one. But I think for the recodification, so the goal is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is to recodify, renumber, reorganize, but not make any substantive changes to the bylaw.
Well, but it's been a process that's been going on for a long time, as I understand it. And of course, I've only been here for 6 months, so I'm kind of catching at the tail end. But as part of the process, eventually they did, the working group and some other people did start making some changes to the definitions and other pretty substantive changes. These are not massive changes, but they are they're substantive, as well as the kind of the reformatting and reorganization and renumbering that you mentioned. So that's kind of one of the things that we're kind of dealing with and discussing right now, is the complications that arise from that and kind of how to deal with that. So I mean, I could go further, but that's kind of in a nutshell kind of the situation we're facing now.
Okay, I have a lot of thoughts on that, but I will open this up to the board for more discussion. So the recodification, and there's two other, the battery storage based on recent, and I think that's good, and then the flood hazard overlay district maps, which is a fairly routine zoning article. So I'll open it up to the board. Fernando, did you have?
Yeah, I do. It's with regards to the battery energy storage systems article. I know this is going to be worked at. I think the intent of this article, one of the intents, was to kind of limit where battery energy storage systems could be located in the town of Duxbury. And obviously, we don't want them in the residential comparative district, which is homes. But I do notice in section 622.4, location of zoning districts, it says are permitted by special permit in Plan Development 1, Plan Development 2, and Plan Development 3. Are these actually places where you have homes, these plan developments?
So yeah, they are. So the problem, as you know, is that Duxbury is, probably maybe 95% or 97% residential in terms of its land use. There's not much industrial or commercial or retail, restaurants, land uses in Duxbury, a little bit, but very little. And so this is kind of a rapidly evolving area of kind of litigation and case law and legal decisions, and of course Duxbury was in one of those decisions, one of those court decisions. But basically, sort of from our discussions with town council so far, and from, I believe the case is called Tracer. I'm not sure if it was in Waltham or somewhere in the Boston area, but in any case, as a result of that litigation, it seems as though, you can't, if you're a city or town in Massachusetts, you can't really restrict battery energy storage projects or solar projects, to like maybe just like 1% or 2% of your town. But it's a bit ambiguous, and of course, town council could give you a better answer than I can. But
Okay.
it's a bit ambiguous at this point, and it's probably going to evolve in the next few years. How much, what percentage can you get it down to? Because you're definitely allowed to prohibit it in pretty large portions of your town, but you can't go so far as, again, if you're only allowed in 1 or 2%, it seems clear that that's not allowed. So what this would do, and again, so of course we're kind of up against the quandary that Duxbury is, whatever, maybe let's say about 97%, I mean, I'm just guessing, but maybe 97% residential, 95, 98, whatever. And so that kind of brings us to the quandary. And so, what we're proposing here, we actually did a map and calculations, and it comes to about 10%. It would be allowed in about 10% of Duxbury, which obviously it's not ideal. It's not what we would prefer if we had our preference, but that's kind of the reality of what we're discussing with town council and trying to get a sense of what we want to propose, and do we want to push it to something that the state or litigation might strike down, or how, what kind of decision do we want to make there? So I think it's a difficult decision, but you're absolutely right that, the plan development zones, they're different zones, but in practice, if you drove around Duxbury, they look pretty much the same. Like as you go from a residential compatibility zone to plan development zone 1, 2, or 3, it all looks pretty residential basically. It doesn't look that different. I mean, the zoning does allow slightly more density and a few more other kinds of projects in the plan development zones, but in practice those are rarely done. So it's not really a massive difference. But still, we need to have some kind of way to make the decision, and so that seemed like the best approach.
So what I'm hearing is that there is it looks like from the Commonwealth there'll be a minimum percentage of area within a community that must have the ability must allow battery energy storage systems. So roughly about what you're saying is 10%, but that's a moving figure, so it might change over time. So anyway, I understand why you have it now, because you're trying to kind of comply with the law of the Commonwealth, but still it's a difficult one, this one. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
Mike?
For all of these draft bylaws and articles, how could the public take a peek at these and see red line versions or additions to this, particularly A? How can one see what's been changed if they're interested in this?
I believe, good question. So I believe they're all posted online. If a person goes to, I think, the planning department's webpage or maybe the planning board's webpage, there's a link. I think it's near the top left. It says something pretty intuitively obvious, I think.
Is
like
it
the
a
2026 zoning bylaw amendments or something. So if you go to that, then I think they're all PDFs, so they're all there. And I think for the battery energy storage one is entirely new text, so there's no kind of red line there. But then for the floodplain one, I think it's pretty clearly shown, sort of, through the strike through and the underline, what's the new text, what's being deleted, and then of course the recodification is an entirely new, sort of a whole new zoning bylaw. So that's a whole kind of animal. I mean, I can speak more to that if you want, but that's sort of a kind of a different animal.
I think it would be helpful for that one, even though it's been reorganized, if somebody could highlight what's been changed, whether they're simple edits, which are never simple when you're talking about bylaws. A comma can change everything. But just what they are, because folks have been working on this for probably a decade, and it would be nice to know what's being proposed to be changed before a town meeting.
Sort of building on that, just to reinforce that point, Mike's point. All the town meetings I've attended, whenever a zoning bylaw change comes up, it almost invariably gets IP'd, because people stand up and they start debating where the comma is. It's really difficult to get a zoning bylaw changed in Duxbury. That's been my observation anyway. So just building on Mike, the more we can do to help people understand the change and the impact of the change before the annual town meeting, we might stand a chance of getting these very important zoning bylaws passed, these articles passed, because if we don't do that, it's going to be extremely difficult and a low probability of success. I'm just giving you a heads up anyway.
Oh, yeah, I've heard some of the stories. The issues that you've mentioned in terms of like to be able to show more clearly the changes, those are some things we've had discussions about internally as well. So we're definitely aware of that.
Okay,
And,
Great, thank you.
Good.
I don't know at this point, I can't tell you what the resolution is going to be, but.
No,
it's
it's
something
just
that we're-
for the next step.
Yeah, for next step.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll see you back.
Communicate.
Cindy or Brian?
Yeah, just quickly, first of all, I'm thrilled that this has gotten at least this far. Having been on the planning board, especially with the recodification, it's, I understand deeply how difficult this has been and how difficult it continues to be. So thank you very much for pursuing it. I question about the number of bylaws that you're looking at. I believe that a few meetings ago, when the planning board met with us about the comprehensive plan, one of the things that I think Kristen said was they were also going to be coming forward with an inclusionary housing bylaw. And that seems not to have happened, and I'm wondering if that's just time and space or whatever, or if there's something else is happening with that.
Yeah, essentially, that one got pretty complicated, and with all the work on the other three, we sort of just kind of ran out of time. We are definitely planning to keep working on that one. We're hoping to, probably propose it at the next town meeting. We do think it's definitely worth working on. It's worth doing it. It's worth making those changes. So I think you'll see that in the future.
Okay. And so for tonight, I think we're just looking at them, seeing what you've done, and sending them back to you for the next steps. We're not, and we will have a chance at a later date to go through them in more detail. Is that correct?
I think as far as the later date, probably either Rainey or Nancy can speak more to that. But yeah, I think as far as tonight goes, it's just something that's required by state law, where if any entity that has the power, it could be the planning board. Of course, it's usually the planning board, but it could be any entity that has the power, whether it's a public petition or the select board, that has the power to kind of propose a zoning bylaw amendment as a warrant article. It has to go to the select board, and then the select board by state law, I think, has to then vote to refer it to the planning board for the public hearing. So at this point, obviously, you're not voting to support it or disapprove of it or anything like that. All you're doing is fulfilling your state requirement, as I understand it, to refer it to the planning board for the public hearing.
Right. That's sort of, I was trying to just reemphasize that we don't need to get into the weeds and the details of them as much tonight as we do just need to send them back to you to do just that with public hearings. And then we get to do it again. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you. Brian?
Yes, thank you. I think all of you have made really important points, and most importantly, the issue of public engagement and making sure that this is a transparent process. I know that when we get to zoning bylaws, and I echo the points about the long need for recodification. We've been talking about this for at least a decade, if not more. So we need to make it happen. And the more input and information we can have for the public, the better. So thank you all for making those very important points. The one question I have, I don't know if it's an elephant in the room or if it's been resolved at this point, but we had comments from town council when it comes to the recodification, and I'd like somebody to address that. There was an issue about some potential risk. So I want to understand if that's been resolved or if that's still an outstanding issue.
I don't know about that issue, Brian. Can you elaborate more?
Yeah, there was an email from town council talking about recodification, and that if we do it all at once and the AG doesn't approve part of it, I'm not sure I was following the argument, but I want to make sure I'm clear on what the issues were, and I want to make sure the select board is fully informed in terms of where that stands.
I think Tag has raised his hand. Maybe he has an answer.
Tag, do you have some insight on that you could share?
Sure. Thank you, Ted Carpenter, Summer Street Planning Board member. Succinctly, the issue is that if it depends on how we pass it. Because the recodification reorganizes the bylaw and moves the sections all around, it completely changes the structure, but the language is the same for the most part. But because the easiest way to do this is to repeal the existing bylaw and replace it with the new language, the concern from Amy was that this would trigger a comprehensive review by the Attorney General. And thus, any language in the existing bylaw which is contrary to statute or subsequent case law would be automatically invalidated if the Attorney General was to strike it. And that's not something we want to see happen. And where this was left was, we had a fairly detailed discussion about the fact that the language was not in fact changing, except for moving some definitions around. And Amy was going to look into the question of how mechanically could town meeting handle this without triggering the Attorney General's comprehensive review. But we don't have an answer to that question yet.
That's a very important question, and if I have huge concerns. What I heard you say was, when I confirmed that this was a recodification, is simply that. It's recodifying, reformatting with no substantive changes. When you start changing definitions, that is a substantive change, and that requires, in and of itself, just changing a definition would require, that would be a bylaw in and of itself, and need a 2/3, voted town meeting. You cannot, try to make any change, any substantive changes under a recodification and reorganization of a bylaw. I think that is disastrous. I agree that it needs to be recodified, reworked, made more user-friendly, but a rewrite, and obviously town council is also super concerned about this. I think we need to make sure that we don't open a can of worms, one of those unintended consequences again. So.
She's acutely aware.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are issues I've been thinking about a lot and communicating with Amy and other people. I think I saw the email from Amy that Brian is probably referring to. It was to a few people. And so, yeah, I think she was raising some of those issues, especially obviously with zoning bylaws or with any, laws, rules, regulations. There's always the risk you change a single word inadvertently, it could lead to disaster. So we want to be extremely thorough and sort of err on the side of caution. And it's definitely something me and some of the other planning board members have been thinking about and aware about. Obviously, Amy's aware of it. And I think that's, I don't have the email in front of me, but I think probably what Amy was saying is some of those issues about the dangers of doing a full repeal and replace, and how you have to be really attentive to detail and know what you're doing. You have to, keep track of things very thoroughly for that.
All right.
Okay.
If I can just jump in real quick, so just two clarifications. One, the Amy we're talking about is Amy Questle, town council, not our board member. And the other is, I don't know that this is a showstopper by any stretch of the imagination, but I just want to make sure we're aware of it. I certainly don't want us to not continue with the process, given the fact that we've waited so long to get this far. So as long as we're moving forward carefully, and I get the sense from this discussion tonight, that's exactly what we're doing, and the issues are on the table. I think we proceed as
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit.
Sorry.
I agree. And again, I think it's once you start making those substantive changes is what tips that in a dangerous direction. But if I could also comment on the two other proposed bylaws, I think it's going to be very helpful. Again, public, awareness and engagement is key with these. So for the battery storage, as Fernando was pointing out, just having, being people hearing that it's in a PD zone. People don't necessarily know what zone they're in. So I think it's very important to have a map associated. People need to know the people that the PD zones are the most densely populated zones. It allows for density beyond the 40,000 regular or the APOD density. So it is a little bit, I mean, I guess as you move through this, I think it's confusing to me why we would propose the battery storage facility in the most residentially dense areas. So, so when you post the proposed bylaw, I think it would be really helpful to include a map for people so that they can see where those zones are located. And then just to comment on the inclusionary housing bylaw that I guess is getting tabled. The inclusionary housing bylaw, we were the first municipality in the Commonwealth to have that inclusionary housing bylaw. And it was during a time where we had some different council in place that all of a sudden it was being questioned as to the validity or appropriateness of that bylaw. However, that exact bylaw has been mimicked and copied in numerous towns and is still being used today. So why? But that's another conversation, because these are 3 big bites, or at least 2 big bites at the apple. So or at an apple. So, okay. So any other questions right now on these? And so what we're doing is just remanding back to the planning board, saying, "Yep, you guys can keep moving forward with warrant articles for these if
they pass muster."
you so choose after public input.
Yep. I move that the Select Board refers these articles as presented for proposed amendments to the zoning bylaw to the Planning Board so that the Planning Board can hold the required public hearings.
Second.
I need a roll call? Yes,
Probably
because, yes, I'll start with you, Cindy.
Yep, Cindy, aye.
Brian, I.
Michael, aye.
Amy, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Okay, well, good luck.
Hey, good luck, Matthew.
Yeah, I was going to mention, or I don't know if I can still mention it now that you've done the vote, but just one little thing with the recodification, as you probably know, part of the intention of that is to put the zoning bylaws online through the system of the general code, this E-code they call it. So it'll be, that's probably the reason why you're sort of the reforming and renumbering has taken place. And so hopefully, once it does get online, it has those advantages of being a better system.
Great.
That'd be great. Excellent. Good to hear.
All right.
To close that here.
Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you. Do we need to close the public hearing?
There wasn't a
wasn't a
public
hearing.
hearing.
It wasn't a public hearing, it was just a meeting. Okay,
Just a
great.
regular.
Okay, next item on our agenda is the town manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 2 items for you. First, dealing with the removal of kayaks, dinghies, and paddle boards.
The famous one.
Yes, it's been a couple of years since we've had to remind people that anyone who may have a kayak, dinghy, or paddleboard stored at Cove Street, Landing Road, or Shipyard Lane, that the storage of these vessels is not permitted, and in some cases, they may constitute a public health hazard and a liability to the town. We would kindly ask that anyone having a kayak, dinghy, or paddleboard at these locations to please have them removed by Saturday, January 31st, 2026. Any remaining vessels found at this site after this date will be removed from the site and disposed of. I've sent notification of the same to the Clipper, and hopefully they'll be able to get that message out as
Okay,
well.
does Cove Street, is that Blair Haven or Howland's Landing?
No.
No, streets up towards, on your way to Abrams Hill.
Because that was another, the Conservation Commission specifically called out that location. Can we include?
Oh, they have,
There's a problem up there
Oh,
too.
okay, yeah, then I'll add it to
So
the notice.
If we could add
Yeah.
that to the notice, that would be helpful.
Howland's Landing, you mean?
Yes.
okay, yeah, and then for that, thank you. In that case, yes, Howland's Landing as well.
I seem to remember the last time this came out, people from all over the place came
Oh,
and
yeah, there was like
removed
a,
the kayaks.
yes. a
Took
sale.
opportunity of
Yes, they did.
free kayaks.
Yes, they did. Well,
Gone in no time.
we'd like the
Fernando.
owners to come claim them. That's
They go until
preferred.
January 31st, but by the 1st of February is a free-for-all, then, is that right?
Well, it could be any time between now and
Could
then.
happen, you
I
know.
just hope that the owners get their kayaks and paddleboards out of the way.
So notice is hereby given. That is the point. Okay.
And they miraculously I don't think we had to touch one of them. Maybe we did, one or two, but aside from that.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. And then the second and final piece of information I have for you is something I emailed to each of you earlier regarding the East Street Bridge. The town of Duxbury received the following notice from the Mass Department of Transportation with respect to long-term East Street roadway closure in Duxbury, which is now extended through, unfortunately, April of 2026. The vicinity over the bridge over Route 3 in Duxbury, which was closed in July of 2024, will now be closed through April 2026. The roadway closure is necessary for construction of the bridge, meaning that no vehicular, pedestrian, or bicycle traffic will be allowed across the bridge during the closure. The design build team will continue to monitor the weather to find an opportunity to place asphalt during the winter months and early spring in order to open the East Street Bridge back to traffic prior to April 26, prior to April 2026, if at all possible. And more information can be obtained through Mass DOT. And as you will all recall, Mass DOT initially thought they would have the bridge reopened at the end of December, but unfortunately that is not the case. So we have posted this information on social media as well.
All right.
And I apologize if I missed it in that. What's the big why here? Why did this get delayed?
A number of reasons. Mass DOT is kind of having a global problem right now, not just with this project, but a number of other projects that have all been forestalled for a variety of reasons. In this case, we added a water main, but that was addressed and rectified. But then they had to do design changes to the actual bridge itself. Then, with them moving assets from one project to another, it delayed this one and sped up others, and those were delayed when they were bringing teams back over here. This is my understanding, so this is what's been explained to me. And then by the time they were ready to move forward with the next phase, paving went off the table because things got cold early. So the asphalt plants shut down usually mid-November. That's also the reason that the Washington Street sidewalks have not been paved as well. So we're waiting for the asphalt plants to reopen, and that's all based on weather. So we need X number of days for them to reopen and allow us to put down pavement. So it could be a while.
Well, continuing on the DOT theme, any date set for the
Not
for
yet.
the Far Point Bridge?
Yeah, good question. They asked me about that just before the holidays, and we're still targeting mid-January.
Mid-January.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm guessing, wild guess, the week of the 19th, with the 19th being a holiday. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was that week.
Okay.
But in and around that time, and the
Okay.
minute they know, you will
And the
too.
next,
What bridge are you talking about?
we're talking about Powder Point
Powder
now.
Point.
Powder Point Bridge.
When we have the hearing, not the hearing, but when they host the public meeting for everybody to come and look at the initial design and
Yeah.
give their feedback.
They'll have a little scale model, I believe, of the bridge.
That I don't know.
Bridge.
I don't know. I know that they will have illustrations, though.
Okay.
I'm not aware
And
if
that's what I was going to just check, Cindy. What is it that we are expecting in mid-January?
Imagery.
It is
You
some
will
type
see
of
images.
a plan.
Yeah.
So we can get an idea.
You'll see
what it might look
renderings.
like. Renderings.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe a little scale
Okay, and
model.
at that point, we're going to decide whether to get additional information about, I still think that information for the public, on all of the options that are out there, whether, it's Mass DOT or other, things that people are talking about, is going to be helpful in decision-making, but I guess we'll have time after we see
Yes.
what they propose.
Yeah, that was what we had talked about previously. I think that makes that's the most prudent decision.
Let's see what DOT.
Let's see what it looks like.
That's right.
Let's react to that.
And mid-January is only a few weeks away,
Yeah.
so it's right, it's
Oh
coming
my
right
God,
away.
it is.
So yeah, DOT is somebody else. Well, we pay for it indirectly through our taxes.
Right,
to
so
Fed,
the other
right?
pocket.
But it comes from a very small pocket, so to speak, or we do it ourselves and we pay for it. The town pays for it. So that's what we're facing.
Yep.
And is there any update on the McNeil dump and the litigation? And we had a big conversation about that, and I know that we're being asked to kind of guide, the future of that site, but what, we're still waiting on, litigation possibilities.
Yeah, I provided a lot of files to town council. I'll put a
Yeah,
thing on the.
let's get it on the agenda at some
That's a
point.
bigger question. I don't have a short,
Yeah.
fast answer for
Okay.
you. Other than to say that council's been provided all the information they needed and the follow-up from the last time that question was asked of me. So I'll get.
Yeah,
I'll
because
get
I
a
would
thing.
imagine that maybe our town council would refer that out to another council
Could
that
be.
just specializes in those types of
Yeah,
cases.
Right.
could be.
Okay,
I'll get that on the agenda for you.
we have some minutes.
Yeah, minutes. Basically, let me see here. I move that the Select Board approves the 17th of October 2025 and the 15th of December Select Board open session minutes as presented. All can vote.
Second.
Cindy, aye.
Michael, I.
Brian, I.
Amy, aye.
Fernando, aye. And I move that Select Board approves the 17th of November 2025 Select Board open session minutes as presented. Amy to abstain, please.
Second.
I have a question.
Go for it.
So, these are the ones that were done somehow electronically, is that right?
With AI, right? How'd that go, Nance?
Yeah.
Why'd we do that?
Because she's trying to find ways to cut
Oh, okay, so
cut
this
costs.
was initiated by you folks.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm just wondering how it went.
then,
Pretty well.
great.
She said pretty well. I don't know if you could hear her, but she did pretty well. And I wasn't there, so I didn't know if it really captured the gist of the meeting, because I wasn't there, but I looked to you guys to,
Yep.
what did you think?
It's different, it gives us different information. I mean, it's the same information, but not quite. Like who said what and what they said, and
Next thing we know, AI will be running for election against us.
Jesus.
In winning,
It'll
probably.
know all the answers to everything.
Well,
I think it looked good. Cindy, that was a good question. And Nancy, thank you for
Yeah.
trying the AI. I think it was a great approach. I think the main difference is the format. It
Yep.
looks like it's more in like a note-taking format as opposed to a narrative. Nancy typically puts our minutes together in narrative form. So I think that's the biggest takeaway. But in terms of the substance, given that the purpose of the minutes is to be a record of what we voted and who was there and what the discussions were, it does a pretty good job. So I think we can continue doing this, and I'm comfortable with the sets that were produced this time around.
thank you. Great. And I think you can tell the AI what format. If you wanted a different format, more in a narrative form, as opposed to, I mean, if that's objectionable, I don't know. But I think you can ask it to change its format.
Yeah, I'm still,
So,
it's still a work in progress.
You tell it what to do.
yeah. You're in charge, Nancy.
And I'm also going to give credit where credit is due for this one, because she was the one that told me about it, and I had no idea. Christine Hill was the one that turned us on to Claude, which is CLAUDE, which is the AI vehicle that we use to generate these minutes. I thought the product was remarkable, considering what you do with it. You get it from a YouTube script, which is 50 some odd pages, and then you throw it to Claude, and it translates it into this, which still takes time for Nancy to finesse it and make it our own. So this is a work in progress, certainly. But we're also going to go through and make sure that it works well for the IT department, because we want to make sure that we have some kind of a universal procedure for following it, because we don't want things to slip up and accidentally throw somebody's social security number in there and stuff like that. So I'm working with it. Nancy and I are working with IT to make sure there's some kind of uniformity in terms of using AI from one board to another.
Great.
Yeah. No, good. I think it's great if it helps and
Well, thank you, Christine Hill.
time. So there you go.
Claude.
It's good. Great.
All right.
All right.
Are we ready?
We are. Announcements, please,
Wait,
sir.
no, somebody, I thought we need to approve this, don't we?
The 17th, I don't.
Oh, we didn't vote on the 17th.
I seconded it.
You-
Oh, okay.
Well done, you seconded it, Mike.
I did. I'm seconding
Can I
everything.
get a roll call, Cindy?
Cindy, I.
Brian, I.
Michael, I.
Amy, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy abstains. I take
Oh,
it
yeah,
back.
Amy abstained, that's right. Okay.
Okay, some announcements.
There's a lot of announcements.
Couple
Right,
of
are
dog.
everybody ready?
Yep, take,
You have a dog.
sit back, take
Pay-
a
pay
breath.
attention.
Take a breath. 2020, first announcement, 2026 dog licenses. The 2025 dog license is expired on December 31st. A mail-in renewal form will be included with the annual street listing census for those wishing to renew a dog license by mail. Licenses may also be purchased at the town clerk's office or by using the online ordering system. A link to the online payment center can be found on the town's website at www.town.duxbury.ma.us. Dog licenses must be purchased prior to April 1st to avoid a $25 late fee per dog. Second announcement, 2026 dog walking permits. Dog walking permits are required to take your dog to Town of Duxbury, conservation lands, and the beach. Resident dogs must first be licensed with the town in order to obtain a dog walking permit. Non-resident pet owners must show proof of licensing in their town in order to purchase a walking permit. This fee covers the cost of the mutt mitts, the pet waste removal bags located around the town. Annual street listing census. The 2025 annual street listing census will be mailed in the coming weeks. Please take a moment to sign the form, making changes if necessary, and return to the town clerk's office within 10 days. This information will be used to compile the annual street list books, which are available to purchase in June. No voter can be added to the voting rolls or update a current voter's political party using the census form. To register to vote or update your voter registration, please visit the office to complete a voter registration card or register online at www.sec.state.ma.us. Per Mass General Law, Chapter 51, Section 4C, failure to respond to the census for 2 consecutive years shall result in removal from the active voting list and may result in removal from the voter registration rolls. Nomination papers for the annual town election. The following offices will be on the ballot for the March 28, 2026 annual town election. 2 select board members for a term of 3 years. 1 Board of Assessors member for a term of 3 years. 2 school committee members for a term of 3 years. 1 planning board member for a term of 5 years. 1 planning board member for an expired term of 2 years. 2 Board of Library trustee members for a term of 3 years, and 1 Duxbury Housing Authority member for a term of 5 years. Nomination papers will be available in the town clerk's office on January 5th, 2026. A candidate must obtain 50 signatures of registered voters to appear on the ballot. The nomination papers are due back to the town clerk by Saturday, February 7th, 2026 at 5 p.m. for signature certification. Election workers. Anyone interested in becoming an election worker should contact the town clerk's office for an application and information packet. State-provided election worker training will take place in late winter, early spring. Training is required prior to commencement of service and every 2 years going forward. The next Select Board meeting is scheduled for Monday, January 12th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. That's
Thank
it.
you, sir.
Done.
All right. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn the first meeting of 2026.
Yes, and Happy New Year to everyone.
Second.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All those in favor?
Aye. Michael, aye.
You have to do roll call.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Aye, aye.
Aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Aye. Brian, aye.
Cindy, I.
That's it. Done.
Thanks,
All
guys.
right, see you
Thank
soon.
you.
Safe travels.
Yes.